know that two people can eat the exact same low-carb meal, but one of them slips straight into fat-burning mode while the other barely moves the needle? The secret is in your metabolism. And today I'm going to show you how to actually measure your metabolism in real time using a little device called Keto Mojo. By the end of this video, you'll know how to check your metabolic health with Keto Mojo. Plus, you'll also understand the difference between nutritional ketosis and therapeutic ketosis. That way, you'll know what your numbers really mean and what they don't. There is also a short video down in the description area to show you step by step how to use Keto Mojo. And stick with me until the end, because I'll also share the one reading most people completely overlook when using their Keto Mojo. And honestly, it can tell you more about your long-term health than ketones alone. Hi, I'm Nicole, a PhD in natural medicine, and I'm a board-certified holistic health practitioner. I'm not here to sell you keto as a magic bullet or scare you with biohacking trends. Instead, I want to give you an honest, down-to-earth way to look at your health using real data so you can make smarter choices that actually stick. So here's the thing. Most of us want to feel energetic, lose a little weight, and maybe sharpen our focus. But we're flying blind. We go on diets, we cut carbs, we try intermittent fasting, but we don't really know if our body is doing what we think it's doing. And that's where Keto Mojo comes in. It's a small handheld device like a glucose meter that measures both your blood sugar and your blood ketones. These two numbers together give you a snapshot of your metabolic health, and when you learn to read them, what you get is a clear roadmap of your progress instead of guesswork. So let's start at the beginning. Keto Mojo measures two main things, blood glucose and blood ketones. Glucose, you already know, is your blood sugar, the energy your body uses when carbs are around. When glucose is high all the time, it's usually a sign of poor metabolic health, insulin resistance, or eating just too many sugary, starchy foods. Ketones, on the other hand, are molecules your liver makes when you burn fat. They show up when your carb intake is low enough, forcing your body to switch to using fat as its source of fuel. Measuring ketones is the real difference between guessing and knowing whether you're actually in ketosis. So, when you prick your finger, put a drop of blood on the strip, and get these two readings, you're not just looking at numbers. You're looking at how flexible your metabolism is. You're answering the question, is my body using sugar or is it using fat? Now here's where people get confused. Not all ketosis is the same. Nutritional ketosis is what most people mean when they say they're in a state of ketosis. This usually means your blood ketones are in the range of about 0.5 to 1.5 millimoles per liter. It's a gentle state of fat burning, enough to keep your energy stable, reduce cravings, and maybe help with weight loss. Think of this as everyday ketosis. You can dip in and out depending on what you eat. Therapeutic ketosis, on the other hand, is much deeper. This is the zone doctors sometimes use to help manage epilepsy, certain cancers, or neurological conditions like Alzheimer's. Ketone levels here can be anywhere from 3.0 to 7.0 millimoles. So this is not about weight loss or feeling leaner. It's about shifting brain chemistry or starving disease cells of glucose. So if you check your Keto Mojo and see 0.8, that's great. You're in nutritional ketosis, and that's most people need for metabolic health. If you see 4.5, that's a whole different ball game. It's therapeutic, and unless you're working with a doctor for a specific condition, you don't need to chase those high numbers. Here's the cool part. Glucose and ketones work together like a seesaw. When your glucose is high, your ketones are usually low because your body prefers to burn sugar first. When your glucose drops, say after fasting or a low-carb meal, your ketones climb. That's why Keto Mojo isn't just a ketone meter. It also gives you something called the GKI, or Glucose Ketone Index. This number compares your glucose and ketones to show your overall metabolic state. A GKI under 9 usually means you're in nutritional ketosis. A GKI under 3 is therapeutic ketosis. But what if you see GKI higher than 9? Well, that means you're not really in ketosis. You're still burning sugar. So when you look at your readings, don't just ask, am I in ketosis? Ask, what's my glucose doing alongside my ketones? That's where the real insight comes from. Okay, so why should you care? Well, here's the truth. You don't need to be in deep ketosis every day to be healthy. That's one of the biggest myths. What matters more is metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility basically means your body's ability to switch between burning sugar and fat, depending on its needs. If you're stuck with burning only sugar, you get energy crashes, cravings, and eventually insulin resistance. But if you can tap into fat burning, you get steadier energy, better focus, and less hunger. Using a Keto Mojo helps you see where you stand. Maybe you thought you were in a state of ketosis, but your glucose is still hanging around 110, and your ketones are flat at 0.2. These numbers tell you that your body hasn't really switched to burning fat yet. In this case, you might need to lower your carb intake a bit more, or give your body some more time. Or maybe you see a glucose of 80 and ketones of 1.2. That's a beautiful place to be, to experience calm energy and support steady fat burning. If you are in this state, there is really no need to push higher unless you're targeting therapeutic goals. Now, I want to be real with you here. A lot of people buy a Keto Mojo, check their ketones once or twice, and then get discouraged because the numbers aren't what they expected. Maybe they thought, if I'm not at 3.0, I'm failing. Not true. Or they fasted for 16 hours, checked their numbers, and still weren't high in ketosis. That doesn't mean it's not working. It might mean your body is still adjusting. Another common mistake is chasing ketones instead of health. You'll see people drinking exogenous ketone supplements to spike their numbers, but that doesn't mean they're actually burning their own fat. It just means you dumped ketones into your blood. It's like borrowing someone else's homework. You didn't actually do the work. So be patient. Real metabolic change takes weeks and sometimes months. Use your Keto Mojo as a guide, not a grade. And here's the big takeaway. Checking your metabolic health isn't about chasing the perfect number. It's about learning how your body responds. Maybe you notice your ketones jump after a long walk, or your glucose spikes when you eat dairy. That's powerful information you can't get from guesswork. Use your Keto Mojo as your feedback loop. Let it help you experiment and learn so that you can make better choices, which align with your unique metabolism. Remember how I mentioned the overlooked reading? Here it is, your fasting glucose over time. Everyone focuses on ketones, but your fasting glucose trend is one of the best indicators of long-term metabolic health. If your fasting glucose gradually drops into the 80s, it shows your insulin sensitivity is improving. Pair that with even mild ketones, and you're on the right track. So don't just celebrate high ketones, and watch that glucose trend too. So let's quickly recap. Keto Mojo helps you measure blood sugar and ketones to get a real look at your metabolic health. Nutritional ketosis is the 0.5 to 1.5 range, perfect for everyday fat burning and energy. Therapeutic ketosis is higher, usually reserved for medical purposes. Also, the real magic isn't in chasing numbers. It's in understanding how your body responds and making tweaks along the way. If this video helped you, hit that like button. It really supports the channel. Subscribe if you want more honest, science-based content about metabolism, nutrition, and real health strategies. And drop a comment below. Have you ever tested your ketones and what surprised you about the results? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.